Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into the Football Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We are so excited about today's show. And last night was awesome at the patio. Hope we saw a lot of our regular listeners come on by. That was fun. Had a lot of drunk fans joining in. That was always fun. We got a big show for you today. Samar Ali from the Loose Cannons podcast is going to join us at 10:10. My good buddy John Kincaid from 97.5 The Fanatic in Philadelphia will join us as well. I was on his show this morning at 9 o'clock. So he was going to return the favor and talk some mess here. So we'll do that at 10:30. Pat Burnham from the Osceola is on his way to Clemson. So we're hoping to catch up with him at 11 o'clock. Huge game for FSU and Clemson. A nooner tomorrow. Got big weekend of college football. Can't wait for that. And my good friend Paul Wilson, the King of Pinellas from the Wilson family, will join us at 11:30, and we will discuss with a vigorous debate whether this St. Petersburg Stadium, which, by the way, as much as everybody wants to say is a done deal, is not a done deal. Well on its way, obviously, but we shall debate that as well. So we got a full show for you. I'll say good morning to you, Peter Blake. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you doing?
Good. Jacked up about the show this morning. Lots to get to. We got baseball, tons of huge weekend at college football. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Colorado. So many big games. Look at Florida and Charlotte. Okay.
And then
but before they get into the meat of their SEC schedule. So, hey, lots to get to this morning. And a bombshell, a Topkin bombshell last night as Junior Caminero, the number 5 prospect in all of baseball, called up by the Rays. I don't know if this is an act of desperation. Never played in AAA, but he has dominated single A and double A, 31 home runs, 92 RBIs or 94 RBIs in just 117 games. Jiminy Christmas. This kid can absolutely mash. Maybe he is the future Wander Franco, who evidently is going to be erased from all memory of the. We have heard nothing about that.
But besides besides the whole stadium draw up there, they had Wander Franco's jersey in the stadium sketch.
Oh, whoops!
Here's the call up here. Here we go.
I forgot something, again, incredible season, and it was so stupid because I had something important to say, and that is that Caminero, you're going to the big league.
You gotta love that.
That's fantastic.
Love that.
Did you see the guy just to his right or stage right? He had a towel on, and it was a flesh-colored towel. I'm like, is that dude naked?
Right,
like, dude, don't get up. Like, what? Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, naked guys, what's he gonna do?
Right.
Give him a hug. Wow, even with a towel on. Anyway,
hopefully not take pictures and sell them.
Jordan G was asking, what was the last time someone leapfrogged AAA like Junior? It might have been Junior. Griffey. I can't remember. There was a pitcher, but that's something. One of our astute stat nerds out there will certainly grab onto that. I didn't see it in the Top Gun article. I can't remember a Rays player jumping from AA.
No.
But Wander Franco didn't spend much time there, but just a straight jump, I don't know. And yesterday, Brandon Lau got hit, so I don't know if it's because of that. Obviously, Luke Raley is going on the injured list as well, and we don't know. That sounds a lot like a blood clot to me. His left arm went numb, so that was concerning to say. And we did talk a lot about this last night on the show. And sorry, yesterday we had a little technical difficulty here, folks. Couldn't do the morning show, but we did have a show yesterday. If you want to check that out, it's always up on the podcast and everything. By the way, if you haven't subscribe to the new podcast link. We have a new podcast link. We have a new app. So just go on your app store and type in JP Peterson Show and make sure you get hooked up to the new app as well. So you can listen to the show in so many ways. Still on YouTube, obviously, still on Twitter and Facebook as well. But yeah, this is, again, what can he add? Just coming straight up from Double A. I'll say this, in the past 5 to 7 years, the whole idea of guys getting to, the window, these superstar young players, when you're playing at such a high level from since the age of 12, right? It's just different now. And I think back in the old days, when guys sign, major league contracts, maybe they had, I don't know what the number might be, just for reference sake, 5,000 at bats in high school and, AAU. I think right now these kids must have 15 to 20,000 at bats playing year round, and they're just so much more seasoned. They've seen more. So I think the long minor league development is just kind of being cut short. And we see so many of these 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, not so many, but just there's way more than in the past that just come up and are ready and just can play and can handle 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. Jonathan Aranda's still struggling with that, but, we'll see. We'll see if his bat's quick enough to handle the velocity at the major league level. I'm interested to see how much run he's going to get in these final, 10 games. If he's going to make the playoff roster, we don't know that, but we'll see. I think it's interesting. I mean, why the hell not? Their season is over. The kid could be a Randy Arozarena postseason phenomenon. You don't know.
You don't know. You're exactly right. And I tell you right now, you always think of B.J. Upton, right? B.J. Upton going all the way back to 2008 and the kind of postseason he had. It just
right.
It takes a couple of bats to get hot, and maybe this guy is the answer for this offense. You look at his numbers again. I get it, high A, double A, 324, 31 home runs, 94 RBIs. It's the reason why you don't trade him in the first place. For
117 games, folks. Don't forget 117 games. Those are outrageous numbers.
Right.
So, I mean, clearly he's a talented offensive player. We'll see. It's nice to have that in your bag of tricks. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely.
Because as the Rays are constituted now, folks, and what really, really, really gives me pause for their postseason success. Number one, they're not winning the division. That's not happening. And to me, that was a must. We've talked about this for months and months and months. They got to catch the O's. You got to get that 5-day break. You got to have it and have any postseason success. They're not going to get that. They're likely going to play who? The Astros, Mariners. Who else is in the running?
Texas. Yeah.
And if it's a tough road to hoe, and then they'll probably play Baltimore in the second, which I'm not totally scared of Baltimore. They should have freaking at least won 3 or 4 in that series. But if the Rays are going to make any noise, their best pitchers have to be their best pitchers. And excuse me.
Uh-oh.
That was not good.
Lingering.
Yeah.
Call.
Man,
you get checked?
I'm going to get my vitamin D up. I ran out of vitamin D this week, so I got to get to the store to get that.
Did you get boosted?
No, please. That's why I don't get sick. Oh my God! Get your 5th boosters there, Keith Oberman.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Dan, I heard Dr. Peter McCullough the other day, and he spouting all the statistics that have come out now and the data that's overwhelming against the vaccine, and it's scary stuff, man. It is scary. And if you're one of those people that think, oh, it's just conspiracy theory, do just a smidgen of research. Google Dr. Peter McCullough, who invented the mRNA technology, and CDC. Even the CDC is reporting these things. It's so scary, and what a horrible, horrible experience that we've had to go through, but whatever. But this team is just not, if Savali didn't answer the bell when you needed him most, and boy, Glasnow, what a disappointment on that Saturday in Baltimore. He doesn't answer the bell when you needed him most. Those are playoff games. Those are playoff starts. And if they can't answer the bell in those critical moments, what chance do the Rays have? What chance do the Rays have? I'd like to be optimistic about this. I'd like to, rah, sis, boom, bah. But this team right now is just really average in my mind, a little above average. They're going to make the playoffs. I guess it's a great season, but just what do you see any hope? Do you see an exploding offense, dominating pitchers? No.
I see some hope in the later innings, but you're exactly right. I mean, when you get
the bullpen's been good. Yeah.
When you get Savali, you expect him to give you quality innings. 6-7 innings. He hasn't been able to do that. In fact, you look at his numbers. He's at a max of 5 the other night. He just got blown up. You can't do that versus the Angels. I get it. It's baseball. You don't know what's going to happen, but if you're put into that spot and you have to beat a team like the Angels, you need to beat them. You need to sweep them. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it would be nice to get that sweep, especially with the Orioles losing. So to answer your question, your pitcher's got to step up. Definitely your offense lately, especially in the later innings, as we saw Margot yesterday be the hero of the day with the walk-off. But maybe this top prospect is the reason. Maybe he's the answer. Maybe he's the answer to that lineup. I tend to be optimistic about it. And I tell you right now, you've seen this team win 100 games and be out in the first round. Maybe it's a different year where it's a good thing that they haven't won the division and they got the Orioles in the second round.
Yeah. But where do you go? I mean, you got Wander. It's a terrible story, but you need difference makers like that in the playoffs. You need guys with superstar mentality. It's great that Brandon's got hot. Arena's been striking out 3 times a game for the last 3 games.
Yeah,
I mean his strikeout rate has just gone through the roof. So this that's probably the reason they're calling up Caminero. They got to get some offense going here. I mean, where's that kind of now? Rayleigh's on the injured list. I mean, it's just one hit right after another.
Yeah,
so, Siri, you're hoping to get Siri back where he's had the broken hand. I mean, they're struggling. They are depleted big time.
Yeah. So. I got to read this comment really quick, and then we'll get out to the real Samir Ali right there of the loose cannons. So based on my brief research on Reddit, a list of players that went from AA to Major League Baseball is great company. Griffey Jr., Jeff Bagwell, Hall of Famer, Miguel Cabrera, future Hall of Famer, Adrian Beltre, and most recently Machado. I forgot about him. So there you go.
Yeah. Wow. What a list.
Pretty
what
good
a list.
Yeah.
What a list. I have a development in the show. So it very could be. I'll just share it with you. Looks like John Smoltz can come on right now with us. So, but we need to take a break and get him on the phone line. So I know Sammer's got something to do this morning, so we'll do maybe jump him on. Sammer, you ready to go, buddy? Is Sammer there?
Yeah, he's.
Sammer, hey buddy, I got John Smoltz just texted me back. I'm kicking his ass in fantasy this week, so he can come on the show right now. And I know you got something to do, so I will ask you. Give me your best minute 30 on why the Bucs are going to kick the Eagles' ass this week.
Well, multiple reasons, but a lot of things do have to go our way. But I will say that the Jalen Hurts 2023 offense, as it currently looks, does allow for him to take sacks. And so the Bucs have to make sure when they get a chance to get their hands on him that they bring him down and don't allow him to play through contact and extend plays. Get him down, put the team in second and long, third and long, keep them behind schedule, as I like to say, and away from third and short where they're absolutely impossible to stop. And like I call that play, the tush push, I call that Ice Cube because that's usually when you let Jalen turn into Ice Cube, he's going to put some ass into it, and that's impossible to stop, right? So the mindset has to be physical, have Devin White, Antoine kind of play spy, play a little extra delayed pressure type, scenario with those guys. But when you get your hands on that guy, you got to bring him down. On the opposite side of the ball, the Bucs are going to be facing a decimated, injury-riddled secondary in the Eagles who does give up yardage. They are not good against the pass. They may be number one against the run, but you know what? If they're that bad, why even try to run it against them? You can just throw it all over the yard. And we've seen Baker take advantage of bad secondaries already this year in Minnesota and, of course, with the Bears. And I can see the Bucs exploiting the Eagles secondary again. I mean, Kirk Cousins threw it all over the place. If they didn't have turnover issues and it wasn't Kirk Cousins, they probably beat the Eagles, but no one wants to talk about that. So keys to the game, take advantage of the secondary of the Eagles. still consistently run the ball, even if it's not massive chunks of yardage. But you have to bleed this game. You got to keep the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands, because the more they touch it, the more they're likely to explode on you. And you don't want that. So shorten the game, bleed the clock, take advantage of their secondary, and you absolutely have to get after Jalen Hurts as a pass rushing unit for the Bucs defense. And of course, the offensive line has to play one of its best games, but knowing Dave Canales and how he adjusted from first half against Minnesota to second half against Minnesota in a Flores-heavy, exotic blitz-type scheme, which was getting after Baker, and then how he switched things up and went to three-step drops and screens in the second half, I have confidence that Canales will hide the deficiencies of the offensive line against this D-line of the Eagles.
He's going to have to.
So, and he has no choice. So I need him to call probably the best game of his life, which is only 2 games in. So hopefully that does play out. But I do see the Bucs upsetting the Eagles in a close game.
Wow.
I like it.
All right, Sammer. Good stuff, my man. That was a great breakdown, right? That was good. That was an elevator pitch right there. That was kick-ass right there. Loose Cannons Podcast. Follow him on Twitter, all over the place. Appreciate you jumping on, Sammer. We will see you Monday. We will see you Monday, my man. Absolutely. Go Bucs. All right, quick break. When we come back on the other side, John Smoltz, Hall of Famer, Fantasy League opponent this week. We will chop it up with him and ask him, do the Rays have any chance whatsoever in this postseason? Hall of Famer John Smoltz coming up next. Stay with us.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. A special treat we have for you here as John Smoltz, first ballot Hall of Famer, 8-time All-Star, loser in fantasy football this week to the host here, moi, and one-time owner of a really nice sports bar in Brandon, Florida. What's up, John Smoltz? How are you?
Living a dream.
How's the hip?
2 hips, brand new, good.
2 hips,
I am. I'm maybe a week or 2 away from hopefully training again. I haven't been able to do anything for 3-4 years, so hopefully I'm on my way.
When are you going to win the celebrity championship at Tahoe?
Well, now's the time, right? I tried to play through all this stuff. My window's getting smaller for the age that I'm at, so that's why I got 2 new hips.
Yes.
As our buddy Kevin said, I got 2 new hips with the same head and the same brain, but that's okay.
That's a good thing.
I can fix that. I could not fix my hips, so now I'm ready to go.
I got to ask you, John, how confident are you against JP in fantasy football this week?
Debo got me a lead last night, so I'm looking good.
Well, here's the deal. I don't know if he wouldn't have been paying attention to what I was doing the week before, but on Thursday, I got off to a huge lead and rested a lot of guys, took them out of my lineup. And got them ready for this week. I know that the computer and the guru said that I left a lot of points on the bench last week, but that was on purpose.
That's right.
So now I'm heading into a fresh week. Guys are ready. They know it's a big match for first place. So all those things were taken into consideration.
I scored 132 last week. And I took Amon St. Brown, the number 5 receiver in the league, and put him on the bench last night for Deebo Samuel, and Samuel got me 23. But Monday night's going to be big for both of us because you have DeAndre Swift and Mike Evans, right? And I have I got Godwin, and who else do I have on Monday night? I may start. I was going to start the Bucs defense. I'm not sure, but I got Godwin going on Monday night, so it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, Smoltzy. We'll see how it turns out. But I benched Joe Burrow, and people. I tell people all the time, Smoltzy, because they don't believe me. We have to bench our starters 3 times a year, 3 games a year. Like
it's 4, but yeah,
maybe 4. Yeah,
10 times.
Yeah, so it's no other league is like this. And that's a big deal in our league. So you got to pick and choose. Like I sat Joe Burrow week 1 for Sam Howell, and everybody, what the F are you doing? I'm like, well, and I'm probably going to sit him. Might have to sit him again this week because he may not play. So we'll see. We'll see.
I know some people complain about it, but that's what makes it unique because you got to have some depth. You got to have some strategy. I had 103 points on the bench last week.
Damn.
It didn't cost me anything. It didn't cost me anything because, I had that big lead at 45 points on Thursday night by starting Swift.
Yep.
And the wide receivers. So those are the kind of things you can do.
Smart stuff. All right, let's talk a little baseball. I just, went on a kind of a rant that I love my Rays, but they're so depleted right now. So much so they just called up Junior Caminero from Double-A. I got to ask you about that. I mean, we just listed the names of guys that skipped Double-A, and it's a who's who of first ballot Hall of Famers. We don't know any, he's got the numbers in Double-A and Single-A, but can he translate and be an October surprise for the Rays?
Well, the Rays keep doing this every single year. And what I mean by it is they keep surprising everybody thinking, okay, these injuries just did them in. Yeah. This news just did them in. And they find ways. Look, I don't think this trend is popular for long-term health of baseball. You and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
But the Rays have something special in the water. They find ways. They have depth. They use their whole farm system. And they're just a team you don't want to play. And I'm more surprised by this year's success with the devastating losses. They were the hands-down favorite. Once the closer, unfortunately for the Orioles, went down, they were going to be the hands-on favorite with the strength that they had in numbers. But too many injuries puts a lot of teams in the mix now.
Yep.
And it does come down to matchups, and it does come down to who wins that division. It's that big a deal. And I think, honestly, look, I'm not about changing everything, but I am about changing one thing in the playoffs atmosphere. They really have to reseed. They got to think about it. You're going to have the two best records in baseball. One's going to be in the wild card. One's going to win the division. And they could play each other again. And to me, there's something in. I know the Dodgers and the Giants did it a couple years ago. There's just something wrong about that, and I hope down the road they look at that as something they need to change, because that would be a tough scenario if it plays out the way I think it can play out.
John, especially with the balanced schedule now, right, John? I mean, you got a balanced schedule, so it's more even across the league. Much better reason to reseed.
No doubt. And the balanced schedule was a no-brainer. Thankfully, they finally woke up and did that. I think, we've got excitement around the game again with the rule changes. We have excitement around these playoff spots that are up for grab. But we got another outlier situation where you're going to have the two best records in the same division.
Right.
And granted, one team's going to get the 3 home games, but they got to burn some assets to get to the next level. And it could end up playing each other again.
John, speaking of being with young players, Andrew Jones, what do you think made him so great, so young there? What was he came in like 18, 19 years old? I mean, it's not one of those usual things. What do you think made him so great at the time?
This is the one area that baseball and all its information cannot tell you. You can't tell you about a kid or a young kid's heartbeat. You can't tell him about what he has under the hood. And Andrew had something special. I mean, he was meant to play this game at a high level at the early age, hit 2 home runs, his first 2 swings in the World Series, which will never happen again.
Never.
And I think the guys today, the young players today, are more ready, whether that's youth baseball, showcase games, all those things. The game has been thrust in these young players. Unfortunately, in that greatness that we have, the young players, you de-develop some of their fundamental flaws because they don't develop it. They just throw them into the big leagues and say, go get them. We're a young league and we were going to rely on young players to make an impact. And it can be great and it can be difficult because you're going to lose some along the way and you're going to see some stars shine for a long time as well.
John Smoltz joining us here. All right, when you look at this Rays team, and obviously they've been depleted with 3 of their starters going on, Shane McClanahan most notably, getting to Tommy John. So now they're going to go into this with Glass now and Savale, and both of those guys had huge starts this past week and flopped, and that's a killer when you're a game and a half out with 8 to play and you don't have the tiebreaker. So I think with Eflin as well, you've got 3 really good starters, but none of them have really proven it in the playoffs. We got to see them do it because it's different, right? It's different in the playoffs, and you got to have those guys.
It is, and that's why this is such a unique situation. If you told me the Rays had number 1 seed, I'd say they're the favorite.
Yep.
Tell me the Orioles have the number 1 seed, you kind of like their chances. But here's the deal. The fallback option is not great because they don't have the depth to run the gauntlet, having to play those first 3 games possibly, right? So that's the biggest chase, is they're going to have to pour normally you would say, okay, is it worth chasing down winning the division and really running guys down to empty? And I'd say in this case, yes, you got to win the division. You get a huge rest, and then you're set up for having to only win 2 series to get to the World Series. So this is going to be an exciting last 8 or 9 games for teams that in this position, yes, they don't control the tiebreaker. That last game in Baltimore was kind of epic win for Baltimore and a tough loss for the Rays because of that tiebreaker. It would have been absolute pandemonia if they won that game. But here's the thing that the postseason does deliver. When the Philadelphia Phillies made that run, and I think there's more outliers in this situation. Here's my belief in the playoff situation. In the next 10 years, the 2 best records in each league will advance more than they don't because they'll learn how to deal with the rest. Right. The teams that got hot last year and ran, and like the Phillies, that's going to be tough to do year in and year out. You have to reward the best two teams in baseball, and the new playoff system does that. I don't think we're going to see a lot of those upsets. I could be wrong, but I think teams are going to learn how to deal with that rest that they're unaccustomed to and benefit from that rest instead of looking at it like, oh, we're rusty and a team just came in here and won a series and they came in hot and beat us. I just don't think that's going to continue to happen over the next 10 years.
And this particular Rays team, they just lost Luke Raley now. Siri's been on the shelf. He's hoping to come back from a broken hand in 3 weeks. That's going to be tough. Do they have enough offense to compete with elite pitching in the playoffs? You and I have talked about this. The Rays have mastered the regular season, but postseason, they don't have the big boppers and the proven postseason offensive players to really go deep. At least that's been their MO. If they don't win the division, which is going to be tough, do they even have enough offense to go deep into this postseason?
Well, what I'm interested to see creativity in the postseason. In other words, do teams get tight and stop the aggressive running on the base pass and push the envelope, or do they keep it? And I think there's ways the Rays can make pressure with their speed and utilize their opportunities that they've been so good in the regular season. Now, you bring up a good point. The regular season is totally different than the postseason. I would change some of my theories, so to speak, when you get there and not kind of play it the same way. And I would be aggressive and I would be pushing the envelope and putting pressure on the other team rather than just making that information trump everything else. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's value in that. And I think the ability to learn from year to year, the Rays are really good at self-correcting. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They are the truth. Like, everyone has the same information and there's really not that much separation between the information from one club to the next. It's what do you do and how do you correct the things in the past? And they are really good at doing that. And that's what gets my attention every year, to see them doing something different and finding a way to be successful at the same time with their payroll being what it is.
Yeah. And Johnny, before you go, there's a big announcement last week. There's still been no votes taken. We haven't even seen the real numbers yet. But it's a feeling that they're going to build a stadium right next to the failed location that they have right now in Tropicana Field. You know a little bit about this area. Is this a huge mistake? I think it is, to build right next to, and to build in St. Pete. And I love downtown St. Pete. It's a beautiful place. It doesn't need a ballpark. I think it's a huge mistake. Do you have any opinion on it?
I will say this. If that's their only option, then a new stadium's better than not. Because this stadium was almost outdated before they moved in, just because of the disarray of how they got to when they got to become a club. I think everybody, and knowing that area, certainly there's a better location to draw fans. The sad thing for baseball in general, for Rays fans, is the location hasn't been attractive enough to fill the seats as an organization that has won like they have. And that's nationally from afar. You wonder why they don't draw. When you're there and you see and you notice all the things that are going on, you can understand it. And so I would answer that by saying, if that's their only option, like new stadium there and nowhere else, then getting a new stadium is going to be at least better to drive people to a place where, let's face it, the Atlanta Braves have cracked the code on new stadiums and the surrounding environment. If you build it up, people are going to come and spend more time there before the games. They have the model that everyone wants to replicate. So I don't know if with that new stadium comes some of those amenities and some of those places, even if they have the room, but for the Rays and their fan base and for that organization, they at least deserve a new stadium.
Good stuff, John. Appreciate it. We lost JP there to some Wi-Fi issues, so I'm going to wish you luck. He seems pretty confident in the fact that he's going to beat you in fantasy football, so I want to see what the end result is, but appreciate your time here on the JP Peterson Show. All right, my friend?
You got it. Let him know either way, win or lose, I'll come back on.
All right, sounds good, John. Appreciate you right there. Hall of Fame pitcher John Smoltz of the Atlanta Braves. I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a quick break. But when we come back, hopefully we can restore JP's Wi-Fi here on the JP Peterson Show. Here we go.
sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the show. Sorry I had to leave there. Thank you, Spectrum, very much for that with my connection here. But a great interview with John Smoltz. We thank him so much for joining us. You wrapped that up well, Peter, right?
Thank you. Yes, we did wrap it up well. Yes, absolutely.
I didn't get to hear his whole answer on the stadium, though. I need.
We'll get that edited and put up on Twitter,
Awesome.
X, and Instagram. We will definitely get that up there. So.
All right, the cavalcade of big-time stars continues here on the JP Peterson Show as we bring in my good friend John Kincaid from 97.5, The Fanatic in Philadelphia. The Eagles fans are coming in strong. What's up, Johnny? How are you this morning?
Yeah. I'm accounting for 600 of them that are taking off at 12:10 this afternoon. They'll be getting into one of America's greatest airports in Tampa. I love the Tampa airport.
The best.
I said I got to know Tampa really well. My brother was in the sheriff's department for 28 years down there in Hillsborough.
Yeah.
And my whole family fell in love with visiting him and also getting down there to Tampa, going to Burns, sporting events. It's always, you live in a beautiful spot with some really good people.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
But that's about the nicest thing I'll say from that point on.
So it gets ugly from here on. I was on Johnny's show this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You Peterson, you and your fan base gave me the most scarring loss of my lifetime in 2003, 20 years ago. And I'll tell you, since that moment, I've never gone into a sporting event ever, any sporting event again, going, my team can't lose.
Yeah.
Because I walked into the building that day saying my team can't lose, and they got their asses kicked.
Yeah.
And so you gave me that, and I hope you wear it as a badge of honor. Because,
absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, you're number one right now, but thankfully I'm not on video.
Well, and then thank you very much. I take that as a badge of honor. And of course, we have to bring back Rondé Barber to Monday night to get his Hall of Fame ring.
Nice
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'll tell you this, though, the respect that I have for Rondé, and I got to work with Tiki a little bit at CBS Sports Radio. The respect I have for the Rondé Barbers is very, very high. So it's hard to hate. It's hard to hate Rondé Barber, but I find a way to do it. I can promise you that. Every Eagles fan does, and I guarantee you they'll have something to greet him with on Monday night in the stands. But it's going to be a great weekend.
I got to go find your 600 just for the pregame. You're going to have I'm sure they're going to have a tailgate party, right?
Yeah, they have Philly Sports Trips.
Yeah,
is our partner, is that we partner with, and we pick a game a year. And unfortunately for me, as I'm doing my 8th round of chemo, which ends in around an hour, I cannot get on a plane. They will not allow me to be in a crowd of people like that. They won't allow me to be on a plane until my chemo's all over in around 6 weeks. So I have to stay back, but the show's going, and the rest of the guys will be there, and they have a great spot right outside. I mean, it's literally right across the street from the stadium where they set up, and it's beautiful. It's called Philly Sports Trips, and I know a lot of people in the Tampa area who are transplant Philly fans will join them just for the tailgate. That'll push that number probably over 750.
I'll go find them before the game just to say hello. Absolutely.
You're welcome. I promise.
They won't beat my ass, will they? Philly fans are well renowned for beating other teams' asses.
They have Tabs Catering. Peterson, you can handle yourself. What are you talking about? Tabs Catering is there. They have some of the greatest food, live music. It's a lot of fun. It is a great, great time. And really, the fans are looking forward to the trip. I picked this trip before I knew I had cancer. And so every year I pick a road trip. Now we're coming back next year, or it's between that or New Orleans. So I'm debating.
Dude, don't go to New Orleans, bro. I've been there it's awful, dude. It's nothing like it used to be. It's
really gotten that bad, eh?
Well, it's always been a little, dicey. Now it's like the cops they're not even around anymore. There's no enforcement. The criminals know that the cops aren't doing anything. It's dirtier than it's ever been, smellier than it's ever. It's awful. And it is awful.
I know. And the one thing I know is with my brother Doc, who was in the sheriff's department, with Tom, I probably can't get arrested in Tampa.
Yeah.
Or if I did,
that stuff's not happening here. We don't none of that stuff that's happening there.
Yeah. We didn't like that playoff game a couple of years ago, though. You were very inhospitable that day.
Yeah.
Very inhospitable.
And I would love to say that we're going to do the same this week, but as I said on your show, and I picked the Bucs the first 2 weeks, this is a tough matchup for the Buccaneers. The offensive line of the Bucs is just not good right now. They've played two teams that they can handle. The Bears are terrible up front. The Vikings aren't much better. This is a completely different animal. And even though a lot of those guys are nicked up, you tell me they're going to play, right? The front seven for the most part.
Oh yeah. There's going to be some, though. We still don't know. We do expect that it's going to be a fairly healthy. A lot of the guys who are on the injured list will play. They've had time off. There's a question on Boston Scott, so which could get you Rashad Penny into the game. And if you know that's the case, you do not want to. He cannot pass protect. Is what has been keeping him off the field, because if you can't pass protect, they don't want you on the field. Nick Sirianni's not going to tolerate that. He is the Ted Lasso of NFL coaches. Positivity. And everything about it, JP, seemed corny from the day he was hired, but damn well he produces, and his veteran players carry the water for him as good as any NFL coach I've ever seen. They preach his messages. They back him up, and he's just a really unique dude. And they built a really great roster. And you know what they did? We both are familiar with the Atlanta area and Georgia. And for some reason, the Atlanta Falcons are absolutely adverse to taking Georgia players, where Howie Roseman, the Gator, has been living in Athens. And we love the Georgia players. We'll take more of them. We will look next year. I guarantee we'll get one or two more, because they love the Georgia players. They love what Kirby Smart puts out.
John, what's your initial thoughts of Jalen Carter? I mean, much was made about him and his red flags off the field, but it certainly seems like, that locker room is veteran enough to not only handle that, but everything you've heard, he's been great. What do you say?
Well, his performance on the field has been fantastic. I mean, he's leading all defensive tackles, I believe, in hurries in the NFL, and I want to see him get to the quarterback more. He's got a sack already, but we've been very impressed with him. But the thing is, too, that when they talk about like the character issues with Jalen Carter, and JP, I know you still have connections in Athens. Everything that I was told was the character issue was sort of being Hollywood from the day he arrived.
Yeah.
A little bit aloof, a little bit, confident, overconfident maybe. And some of that rubs some of the older players the wrong way. But here, he's walking into a room with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and other veterans like Darius Slay. He's put in check. And they've just challenged him to be his best. And he showed up and he has been a model citizen. And then you've got a guy like Jordan Davis who has just made a big impact as far as Jordan Davis is one of his best friends. So you got somebody that is keeping him and, making him comfortable. He's got Nolan Smith here, another guy very comfortable with. Kobe Dean, who's necked up, will not play. He won't be playing on Monday night. But the Georgia Dogs, they all hang out together. So now they're the Philly Dogs, and that's what we call them. They're the Philly. And they all hang out together, roommating, things like that, to just keep each other in check and make sure that the transition to the NFL is successful.
He's a Philly radio icon, John Kincaid, 97.5, the Fanatic in Philadelphia, joining us here. And just keep the Dogs, get them a driver. Just get them all drivers. Don't let them get behind the wheel at any point, anywhere, and you'll be fine. Those guys.
The thing with that story, though, drives me crazy is this. You and I are young and stupid, okay?
Yes.
And we're like racing each other down the street. And you blow through a light, and I sit at the light. I actually stay at the light while you blow down the road. You're doing 104 and you crash. How am I to blame for that?
You're not.
To me, it's bothered me about that story because they make it out like they were playing Speed Racer and Racer X was knocking them off the road. That's not what happened.
Not at the time. Not at the time he flipped. Yes, right.
Exactly. So I mean, that's the thing that bothers me. But it is definitely they're keeping him in check and they're very, very pleased. I think with what they've got. I think he's going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. And that's a great thing when 8 teams passed on him, which is crazy to me.
Crazy, including the Bears, by the way, who have the terrible defensive front.
That's a dumpster fire in and of itself.
Jesus Christ. Wow. It's unbelievable.
And pointing fingers. I mean, it's so funny the only person that Justin Fields won't point a finger at is his own mirror. Yeah. He's claiming he's misquoted. He's claiming that people are taking things out of context. Dude,
you said it.
Stupid stuff. It's not out of context. You keep giving him the material.
Right. And not only that, he didn't need to. Everybody else was saying it for him. Every analyst in the freaking game was saying it for him. You got to run. Justin Fields, just shut up. Let them do it for you. You don't have to do it. Right? I mean, my God. Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me. But when I saw him at Georgia, when he was a backup quarterback, and he got in for like 6 plays in a South Carolina win. And Zach Klein, our friend Zach, walks in and has the camera right on him as he's walking out. He goes, "Yeah, I handed it off really well." He was pissed off.
Yeah.
That to me isn't a team guy. He wouldn't be my choice ever.
Yeah. Yeah. John Kincaid joining us here. So, all right, so Philly's going to be pretty healthy up front. Your back end defensively looks like a shambles, and you got to somehow – this is, to me, the only way the Bucs win this game is they can somehow protect Baker Mayfield and be able to get the ball down the field even a little bit. I know they're going to go with quick game, a lot of screens and what have you, and those guys in the back end are going to have to tackle. What's going on for the secondary for the Eagles? This is the vulnerability, right?
Well, not really, because I expect James Bradbury to be back for the game.
Okay.
So he's there, and I also am pretty confident from some intel that Reed Blankenship will be available for the game.
Oh, I thought both of those guys were iffy.
Oh no, they're iffy, but I believe both of them are going to play. I'll tell you right now. I think both of them will play because and if they both play, I'm not worried about that secondary being shaky at all at that point. Especially if Bradbury plays, I'm not worried in the least. But he's a guy too that JP, you guys know with your receivers. I mean, that is a receiving core that is going to be. They're going to have to work overtime. But with Tampa not being able to run, and I don't think they're going to be able to run well on this defense. Nobody really does. No. So that tells me the Eagles will be able to load up a little bit and say, "Hey, Baker, beat us with your arm." Yeah. I'm worried about Baker in 3rd and 3s. I'm worried about if you get Baker into 3rd and 3s and 3rd and 2s. He's made some fantastic choices. Okay, when to think. And I have a ton of respect for him. A lot of people throw shade his way and everything. I see quarterback play in the NFL, and I can't believe that he hasn't stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh, look at the situations. Yeah.
It's
the situations, and you know this, Johnny. People bang on players all the time, and they don't look at the situations. He had 7 different coordinators in Cleveland. For God's sakes, he's the first one to take him to a freaking playoff win since like Brian Sipe, for God's sakes.
And they, too.
Yeah, and they get rid of him for freaking Deshaun Watson. You deserve this, Cleveland, you dumpster fire. Just awful.
And they are. And the big thing is, and you talked about it this morning on my show, and you didn't even know, Todd Bowles and I were college classmates at Temple University. Wow. And I am a huge Todd fan. And I don't know anybody who knows Todd, and I don't know him well back in the day. But I got to tell you, Todd Bowles, I can tell you, as a football player, I had the other football team floor as an RA. He was on the other.
Oh my God.
And I can tell you this: Todd Bowles was a gentleman. Yeah. He was a scholar. He was a first-class individual when he was 21.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me he's gotten where he's gotten. And Bruce was the football coach.
Yeah.
He was the football coach at Temple at 35 years old. And so he's like, oh, he was 31, I believe, when he took over the job. And when I would have to go in for Temple broadcast as a student broadcaster to do the thing where you meet the coach before the game, he had a bottle of whiskey on his desk.
Hey,
you realize how
win or lose, we booze, baby. Win or lose, we booze.
I love Bruce Arians. Love him. And I think he was a guy that I really think helped. He's helped that organization that you got, but I'm impressed. I honestly, I'm impressed. I want to see Todd succeed because he's a great defensive mind. I question about the head coaching, whether he's made for that, but right now, hopefully he can prove us wrong.
Yeah, like I said on your show this morning, he managed the game so well this first 2 games. He's a different cat than he was last year with all that Brady mess going on. I'm just trying to visualize you, Kincaid, in his bell-bottom pants, flare bell-bottom pants with his little peace sign necklace. I'm holding up one right here. Yeah, with your.
Think this. Think flock of seagulls.
Oh my God! You and Arians running around and
hair. Think of the feathered hair. And the tight cranberry shirt with the linen jacket with the rolled up sleeves to my elbow. I know our friend Sandra Golden. I once showed her a picture.
Oh, dude, I got to see that picture.
She cackled like she loved it.
You got to send me that picture. I gotta put that up on the website. When I put your interview up, I want to have that picture to put up as well. You got to send that to me. All right, listen, I'm picking the Eagles to win this game. I don't like to. I hate you people with all my soul.
You should.
And your fans, but Rondé Knight and all that. But I can't get past the offensive line versus defensive line. That's a losing matchup for the Bucs. So I'm picking the Eagles to win, but closer than the experts think. What are you picking?
I am going 31-17.
Wow.
I think it'll be. And I think Eagles will win. And I think it's going to be a close, but I do think it's going to be a close game. I think it's one that the Eagles will pull away in the second half.
Okay.
And I'll go 31-17, a 14-point victory. So I'm going the opposite of you on that. So
okay.
You guys, do you or do you not have the mobile sports gambling down there?
No, we don't. We had it for a while, and but it's coming.
Bible Belt took it away from you guys.
Yeah, it's a long.
Are they letting the teenagers dance, or do they have to leave room for the Holy Spirit?
Footloose.
Like, seriously,
don't be getting on my Ronnie D. Don't be getting on my governor. He kept us free here, so don't be getting on him.
Come on, you've got to have. I can tell you.
He wants it. No, he wants it. He gave it to the Seminole tribe exclusively on a great deal where the state was going to make $500 million every year. Just a straight payment. The Seminoles had to worry about getting the money, right? $500 million, $2.5 billion over 5 years. The governor did the deal, and then all the gambling companies came in and said, "That's not fair to give it to one team. That's not fair." And he's like, "Screw you people." He wants to have it, but he wants to control it more.
I love it. I'll tell you this much. The people love being able to wager on their apps.
Yes.
Oh, it has generated more interest in sports and more tax revenue for the state.
Yes.
It's unbelievable what you can do.
Some of us have our own apps, that we can use, so it's not that big a deal.
You do. Oh, believe me, I knew that about you.
We're covered. We find ways to go around it. So
Yeah,
All good.
I always enjoyed catching up with you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon sometime.
Brother, my prayers are going out to you. Nobody's handled this
Thanks,
as
buddy.
well as you, and your energy and your vitality through all this chemo is absolutely unfreaking believable. I expected nothing less from you.
I haven't taken a day off yet.
I know. I've heard. I'm following. God bless you, man. You're the best.
Next year, buddy. Take
All
care.
right. We'll see you, man. The great John Kincaid, Philly radio icon. It says right down there.
Yes, it does.
75.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that, man. Can you imagine 8 rounds of chemo? Did that guy sound like he had chemo?
No.
And
we talked about this off air. Like, my family's been touched by it. My friend right now, I'm trying to hook him up, and it's
hard, man. It's hard to get out of bed.
I can't imagine, but yeah, my family's been through it. My friends have been through it. I lost friends. I lost family. It's crazy. So to hear him and hear how passionate he is still about sports and talking about Philly sports, I mean, I love it. I love it. So whether he's Philly or not. So,
yep. All right, we're good to go with Pat Burnham. What a great show we've had already.
Yes, I know.
Johnny Kincaid,
even with the
Sammer
Wi-Fi
Ali.
issues, it doesn't even matter. We're still just going on.
Spectrum. I hate that.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Well, I just did cell phone service with them, so.
Yeah, I've had. Yeah, I mean, it's $10 a month. I'm not going to say no to that.
No,
but it's not good, bro. It's as bad as their internet. No, it sucks. It sucks. There's dead areas everywhere. Your iPhone doesn't work right. But you know what? Verizon's the same way now. They're all crappy. Everything's gone to shit. We
yeah, but
JP, it ain't by accident, folks.
I was paying like
totally planned
a month for a business account, and they were actually supposed to give me $250 for 3 phones, and they're supposed to give me a $1,600 credit since March. Didn't do it, and want me to pay this $1,400 bill. And they're
that's so quintessential Verizon. They've done that. When I was with them, they tried that same crap with me. They just charge you out the ass and go, no, it's nothing wrong on our end. And then when you try to correct it and call them, they put you on hold for like 17 hours. I mean, they will not answer a phone. They just charge you out the ass on some unfair. They'll tell you when you go in there, oh no, we're going to give you this discount and this discount. This will come off your bill next month, but sign right here. And this will come off your bill next month. And then they never do it. And you can't get a hold of them. That's their business model. They're horrific. Verizon is horrific. And I don't know how they get away with it. It's straight theft, allegedly. That's what happened to me. I don't know what happens to other people, but that's what happened to me. And it's disgusting customer service. But listen, Spectrum, their performance is even worse. Look what they did to people, over the ESPN deal. Didn't even tell people they were going to cut it off early. You go to watch a football game and suddenly they're like, no, sorry. Ugh. And sooner or later we're going to only have 5 companies running the world anyway. So it's
I'm going to
knock good, baby.
Hopefully it's a lot better than Verizon. Anything could be better than paying $250 a month. I hear like $83 a month for 3 phones. I'm good with that.
Yeah. For 3 phones. Why the hell do you need 3 phones?
Well, I got 2 other people on my.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thought that was just for you. Like, who needs 3 phones?
It'd be nice if it were just for me, but it's kind of like a family plan. So,
all right, we got to hit a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the big college football weekend. Pat Burnham's going to join us. FSU and Clemson at noon. This is going to be an absolute Donnybrook. Thanks to the Jeeves Law Group. JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you've been involved in an accident or your car has been totaled and you got a crappy settlement, that is right in their fast lane, folks. They know what to do there. Just call them, free call, see if you have a case. JEEVESLawgroup.com. Call them, get the information through the website or email them. Also, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and his gang over there will get you right. And if you're looking to lose weight, get your testosterone right, it's BAMMC.com. Back at 3. Stay with us.
The mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by The Patio, the best happy hour and the best place to watch games all weekend long. We'll be there Monday night, 5 to 7 o'clock. For our Monday night pre-football party, Bucs and Eagles. We'll be doing a post-game show from Raymond James Stadium as well. We got the whole deal going on for you, but go by the patio, watch the game if you're not going to it, under the great palm trees, under the stars, great outdoor space. They got indoor space as well. Super unique place. We love the patio. We were there last night, and go by and see them and see us on Monday and all weekend long for your football watching pleasures. Really cool place to hang out.
It is. We got out of there at the right time because we had like a little monsoon afterwards.
Oh, God, yes, right? Yeah,
yeah, Florida. You got to love it.
All right, speaking of really cool, let's bring in our good friend Pat Burnham from the Osceola, the Rivals Network, covering Florida State football. What's up, my friend? How are you?
What's up, JP? How are you doing, man?
I am ready for a classic.
What's going on?
FSU Clemson. This reminds me of that day in 1988 where it was raining. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, brought one back in the fourth quarter from 72 yards to tie the game, and then Leroy Butler on the punt, Ruski, and the Noles get a big win in Clemson. Is it going to be that good? It's going to be that good a game, you think?
I think I've got 31-30 as my prediction. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Listen, I think it's going to be a close game. I think that Clemson is starting to play, at least if you go back and watch the first half of the FAU game, they look more like the Clemson that we're used to seeing. Have they played that way all year? Absolutely not. Obviously, the Duke game was kind of a bad start to the season for them, and they did not play well against Charleston Southern, but certainly in the first half of the FAU game, they certainly look more like the Clemson that we know and have become accustomed to seeing over the last 17 years under Dabo. And then, of course, the Duke game, a loss is a loss is a loss, but you fumble the ball twice inside the 5-yard line, you're probably not going to win the ball game. So listen, it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure that I know a lot of people thinking Florida State's got a chance to put it on pretty good, and I'm all behind that if that's what happens. But I think it's going to be a tight game.
Going back to the BC game, are you a little bit disappointed that they couldn't put that team out? And are you concerned going forward with this defense because their rankings are not high? You've got Clemson, that's the get over game, right? That's making ACC winner. So concern there?
Well, yeah, I think anytime you see, and listen, Boston College should not have beaten Holy Cross the week before. So you go in there, you take a 31-10 lead, let off the gas, did not play very well in the second half. This is a team that committed Boston College committed a school record 18 penalties and was within the bounce of a football off Keon Coleman's legs of being able to kick a field goal to win the ball game. So, yeah, you're concerned because you can't unsee what you've seen. Now, was it an aberration? We heard Jared Verse talk about it during the course of this week that, they were overlooking BC for Clemson. We heard Mike say that was not the case in post-game. One of those two things is true. Maybe the coaching staff was and the players weren't, but it was not their best effort. And you can't listen. You got to be able to be consistently good in anything. You've got to be good when the emotion's not there and you're going about your business. And so we did not see that. We saw a team. You could go back in a litany of things that you saw in that game that concern you, but you've got to think that they're going to come out fired up for this football game. I think Clemson is too. Listen, the Clemson's fighting for their ACC life. When's the last time they've lost 2 games in a row? I've heard a lot of people say that the noon kickoff is a huge advantage for Florida State. I don't know if that's true. You're going to go to the Death Valley and find a wounded animal there that's going to want to fight for its life. So listen, I think there's, I think we're all hoping that it was an aberration what we saw in the last 30 minutes of that Boston College game. But it's cliche. We always hear it. You're only as good as your last time out, and they were not very good their last time out.
And when you look at the matchups for last week, there's so many things I can say about that game. Trey Benson running like, tiptoeing around, wasn't running hard at all.
No.
Jared Verse was completely MIA. I don't know what the hell he was doing out there. The defensive line in general, their quarterback just running all over the place. I mean, the guy that Florida State recruited, Castellano, is a really good player, but
he was a great player in high school.
Consistently let him out of the pocket making big plays. At some point, you got to adjust. I mean, whether it was coaching or playing or whatever, I think there were a lot of red flags in this game, a lot of red bandanas that showed up in this game.
A lot of red flags,
a lot of yellow flags, a lot of red flags, a lot of red bandanas, whatever you wanted to say. It was ugly. I mean, I thought Florida State had control of the game until the shenanigans started. So, but it's concerning. It's concerning.
Yeah, I did when they came out and, we went into halftime with the lead and came out. I think they scored on the first possession to make it a 3-score game, but certainly you felt like they had. And then, of course, you hear it all the time. You can't turn the ball over. 2 turnovers led to points for Boston College. The fumble by Toafili was returned for a touchdown.
That was a gift.
Trey Benson's got to jump on the ball. I mean, is that where we're back to? I mean, that is coaching. Jump on that football. You don't need to pick up yardage. The main focus there should have been to retain possession. You needed a PN10. They didn't get it. I don't know how that's not explained, but it was not. And listen, he had not made a play all game really. So I don't know why he just didn't fall on that ball. Listen, crazy. You could go back to a lot of things. There's a 3rd and 18 down the goal line where you got 2 guys for whatever reason decide to play leverage from the outside and leave that B gap open, and that's exactly where Castellanos runs. Clearly the linebackers play to make, and I don't know if they would have made it, but anyway, he didn't have a chance. But anyway, so listen, they got to put that one behind them. Mike said that it's should be a learning experience for his team. I think it was. I think it was a learning team for him and his staff and the rest of the team. Yeah.
Will Shipley scares the hell out of me. He's such a good runner. He's such a hard runner, a physical runner. This is what this is how I think Clemson can win this game, is to just control the football, run it down the throat of the Noles. I think those inside linebackers are better, but I still think it's kind of the weakness of the team. Is that your biggest worry in this game for FSU?
Well, you got to tackle both he and Maffa. I mean, they both have already to date have 100 yards after contact. Shipley's got 130. Maffa's got 104. Shipley's got 11 missed tackles forced. Maffa has 6. And plus you got to cover Shipley out of the backfield. So, listen, I think that you feel good about Bethune and DeLoach and Lundy for the most part. I think it's when you get down into the depth issue and depth, there's depth issues at safety. There's depth issues at defensive end for that matter.
Yeah.
But so I think the linebackers are key here. You're going to have to stop Klubnik. He can run the ball. He's not the athlete that Jordan Travis is, but they have used him in the dedicated run game. And I would think that you would see that if they get defensive formations that they like, if they give them, it's kind of similar to what, Boston College saw, which is allowing the quarterback rushing 4 and not bringing any pressure. I think they've got to bring some pressure against him. But I think the offensive tackles for Clemson have struggled mightily this year. The right tackle Blake Miller has tied for 6th most in pressures in college football, which is sacks, quarterback hits, and hurries. It's a combination of those things. And then the 2 left tackles are either redshirt. They've started a combined 3 games, so. Really, this needs to be – Verse needs to come out with another hit single. He needs to prove that he is one of the best 10 players in college football, and he has not done that this year. He's looked good against LSU, but, like you said, he made some plays against Boston College, but was not dominating. Patrick Payton's got to show up. He did not show up against Boston College. You don't have any proven depth behind them. If you would like to see Gilbert Edmond show up, he's had success in Death Valley playing for South Carolina last year. Maybe that'll get his juices flowing a little bit. But, I think Jared Verse has got to have a dominating game.
Do you get the sense that this coaching staff will have this team ready? I mean, because you're around them. It's a big-time challenge once again. In your opinion, will this coaching staff have this team ready to go?
Listen, I don't. If you're a coach and you've got to get a kid ready to go for this game, you got the wrong kid in your program. I mean, the coaches should have to say nothing other than we are playing Clemson on Saturday in Death Valley. We're playing for a right to take a 2-game lead over them in the ACC standings and leave them in the wake of that, because there are, North Carolina's looking good right now. Duke's looking good right now. We're talking about a team that, and as a program, you're looking for your first win since 2014. So I don't think the coaches should have to say anything to these kids. They need to come out there with their stinger, and there's no reason not to have your stinger ready to go.
Yeah, this should be equal or more effort and better play than they did against LSU, and that was a phenomenal performance, especially in the second half. No question about that. Obviously the home field advantage is huge at Clemson. If you've been there, it's one of the 3 loudest stadiums I've ever been in, but it's a nooner, and I do think that is an advantage for FSU, just less hillbilly drinking time. But not much. Not much. It's still a home game. Those people will be up at 5:00 in the morning to get started. So but it's not a huge advantage. But I like the fact that FSU has an experienced quarterback. They've been on the road. They've done this before. And I think that's huge. But talk a little bit about that home field advantage. Is it as significant as we think it is?
I kind of agree with you. I don't think it's as significant as it would be. I mean, like I said, these guys, Clemson's 0-1 in ACC play. They become irrelevant for at least a little while in the ACC, and certainly irrelevant as it comes to the college football playoff. Having been a GA at South Carolina and been to many of these games, certainly the night atmosphere at any stadium is better than it is during the day, but I've seen a 12:00 game at Clemson where it is rip roaring. It's not the loudest game I've ever been to in my life was South Carolina Clemson at night. Yeah, I think in 1997 or 98. But listen, they're sold out. They're going to be fired up. Listen, Dabo's going to have these guys at a fever pitch coming down that hill and out of that locker room. Florida State's got to match their early adrenaline.
Yep.
And once the adrenaline fades out and the emotion subsides, they got to be the more physical and consistent football team, which will make them the better football team at the end of the day.
Any injury concerns for FSU?
Well, we didn't see Robert Scott and Maurice Smith last week, so we don't know the status of those guys. That was not updated during the course of the week, and of course, we have to go with what we know from the week before if Mike doesn't address it. So, but certainly, listen, I think Bless Harris has done fine at left tackle without Robert. Would you love to have Robert? Yes, he's played as much football as anybody on FSU's offensive line, and of course, Maurice was your starting center coming into the year. If you got him back, which I think there's a better chance of that than Robert, but who knows? We'll see. But that's probably the two, and obviously we did not see a couple of the defense. We didn't see Quindarius Jones on the trip last week to Boston College. Is he back? I think he probably will be, but I don't know that for a fact. So we'll see. But no, as far as I know, none of the frontline guys are down.
All right, partner. Great stuff as always. You're picking FSU 31-30.
That's mine.
Do you have any faith in the kicker in a tough spot?
I have more faith in our kicker than I do theirs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
They've had to go to the beach of Charleston, South Carolina, to find somebody that can put it through the goalpost. So this is listen. I know we over exaggerate.
We do.
Florida State's failures at kicker because we still got Graham Gano and Sebastian Janikowski and what was Derek's last name that played when we were there? That was
Derek Schmidt.
Derek Schmidt.
Scott Bentley.
Florida State's has some great kickers, but we kind of get a. But I think if there's a wide,
us old guys are still shell shocked. We still have the ghosts of Dan Mowry and Jerry Thomas in our heads.
Yes. So I think if there's a wide right or a wide left, it's probably going to be on Clemson's sides and not Florida State.
Good.
So I do feel better about that.
All right, tell everybody how they can get your content, my friend.
Yeah, I'll go to floridastate.rivals.com or theosceola.com. I wrote my extensive scouting report on Clemson, was published yesterday, and then we've got our keys to an FSU win where the staff takes 2 points and explains to you why they think those 2 points are important, and then we offer our score predictions. But you can go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com. It'll take you to the same place, and we appreciate you checking us out.
All right, brother. Great stuff. Patrick Burnham, enjoy the game. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, JP, man. Y'all have a great weekend.
Cannot wait to see this one kick off at noon.
At noon, yes.
Clemson.
Yeah. And you get a chance to watch it before you go to USF. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be covering USF there for Amped Up Sports, but I'm going to try to watch it, try to get into the press box a little bit.
What time is their game?
4:00. Well,
no way.
Yes.
And they got Rice.
Yes.
So it certainly won't be a packed stadium. But I read something, I reposted it this morning from somebody in student government. They're not supplying buses this week for the students to get to Raymond James Stadium.
Why?
There may be some budget cuts in student government. And I tagged Michael Kelly and Coach Golish in this. That's non-negotiable. That's non-negotiable. If you have an off-campus stadium, you don't have buses running from the student union to Raymond James Stadium before and after the game. What the F are we doing? Right. Seriously, you're just everything you say about why are you spending $340 million on an on-campus stadium and all the facility upgrades all the money they're spending on these facility upgrades, and you can't take out a little bit of money to drive the freaking kids to the game? Plus, it's a safety thing. You don't want the kids drinking and driving down to Raymond James Stadium and driving back. Come on, this is freaking silly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just. And I know, students say, "Well, we Uber anyway. We don't want to get on whatever." But if there's kids complaining about it, and the student section showed up big time last week, just as a reward for that alone. And I don't, I'm sure Michael Kelly and Golish have bigger fish to fry than worrying about buses, but I thought I'd let them know if they didn't know. That's a come on. Jesus Christ. I can't bitch at the kids for not showing up if you're not even going to provide 1 or 2 buses to take them to the damn game from campus, because not all these kids have cars that live on campus.
No, of course not. And not at that.
You got tons of buses over there that ride down. Not like you got to go out and buy buses or put private buses. You got buses on campus you can use to take the kids down there.
What
are we doing?
What are you using them for that day in the first place? I mean, they're
not going. It's a Saturday. It's not like they're doing classes.
Right.
Jiminy Christmas.
I don't understand. But I tell you right now, USF has to come out and have the same type of effort, a better effort than they had against Alabama, especially offensively. Because, look, if they take a step back and they just say, well, it's Rice, we're not going to play as hard, then really, even though you lose to Alabama, everything that you tried to accomplish at that point goes by the wayside.
Oh, 100%.
So, I mean, and you got to see that effort from this team consistently in order to really, get figure out. And I think he is. Alex Golish is your coach going forward.
Yes, of course. So, but I mean, my God, let's for God's sakes, let's let's get it right for Jiminy Christmas. It's just so stupid.
Yeah,
that's non-negotiable. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Paul Wilson's going to join us here in a little bit, the king of Pinellas County, as I like to call him, and he will join us to talk about this new stadium at St. Petersburg. He's going to try to convince me why it will work. We went to the baseball game yesterday at the Slop and the luxury box, so we had a little conversation. We'll do it when we get back. We're brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source, the great folks at Extravaganza Productions and American Mortgage Services. If you're looking for a mortgage or to refi, and that's still a great idea, Scott Fitzgerald, the best in the business. He will get you the lowest rates and have the lowest fees, and he will help you with your personal finances and get everything in order. So he will lower your monthly payments so you are making the most of what you make, which is so important in these trying financial times. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. American Mortgage Services, the best in the business. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fanstream Sports. It's only just begun.
And welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Patio, as we're going to look at what to watch and when to watch it and where to watch. Well, we know where to watch it.
Yeah.
You're going to watch football this weekend, you got to go watch it at the Patio. Home of the Tampa Gator Club, but you can also, if you root for other teams, they plenty of places there for you to root for them too. It's not just a Gator bar. It's a big old college football bar. Lots of Noles fans will be there tomorrow at noon watching the game. Lots of Noles fans will be there. The Gators will come in later. I think they play later on in the afternoon. And USF, you want a pregame, go down to the Patio. They'll have specials going on, and we'll be there on Monday night for a big Monday night football party. Pregame with us before you head on over to the stadium. Then we'll be heading over to the stadium. We're supposed to be scheduled for 5 to 7. I think we might move it to 4 to 6. I'll see what Mark and the guys over there say, Rick. So we'll see what they want to do, but we'll be there regardless, either 4 or 5 o'clock for a pregame show. So we got the fan mic. So if you want to come talk some mess about Philly fans, you want to come on out and talk some mess about your Eagles and pregame with us, bring it, Eagles fans. And we'll have some fun over there, as we always do.
Yeah, we had lots of fun yesterday, especially with that fan mic. Everybody loved that. We had some interesting fans yesterday. Let's just say that.
We did. I don't know. Matt was pretty drunk, but I think Tim took the cake. I think Tim was the best.
Yeah.
So if you missed that show, it's available on our YouTube channel, Fanstream Sports, DSP Media. You can watch it on my Facebook. It's all over. You've got it on your Facebook as well. Twitter, all that good stuff.
Sure.
All right. So college football this weekend starts at noon with FSU and Clemson. FSU is an underdog in this game. And watching the Clemson Duke game, I think Duke's good, but I don't think they're that good.
No.
And the way Duke out physicaled them up front, I just think, Clemson is not the Clemson of old. You do not have the huge defensive linemen that were so dominant, the great quarterbacks in Deshaun Watson, who was good back then, Trevor Lawrence. They're not using the portal. Clemson is they're on a decline. And, this is a game, frankly, that Florida State should win. And if they don't win it, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. So I think, do they have a shot when you're at home and you're Clemson and they've still got great athletes all over the board, but FSU's just got better, more impact players. And I think they should win this game.
They should win this game. And I feel like they wouldn't be an underdog if they would have taken care of Boston College, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this team needs
a little bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah, a little reality check. Why not? Maybe they're believing their own press clippings, if you will. Old cliche there. Mm-hmm. So,
absolutely.
Big game for Norvell and his coaching staff. And Pat said it best. If you have to get this team ready or you have to get these players ready, they may not be, right for this university, this program.
Right. Colorado is at number 10, Oregon, number 19, Colorado, number 10, Oregon. We got 6 games ranked versus ranked. I think we had none last week.
Yeah.
That's 3:30 on ABC. Travis Hunter will not play the next 3 weeks because of a lacerated kidney. Oh, shush.
Exactly. Callie is very upset about that with the lacerated.
She said it was a cheap shot.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying right there. Rough. So they don't have Travis Hunter, which is a blow, obviously, on both sides of the ball. Oregon, they're pretty damn good. They're bigger up front. This is the best front 7 that Colorado will have faced, and I think this is where they're going to have issues. Hey, shut up.
I think Tally disagrees with you. I think she says that Colorado is going to be in this game.
I'm probably going to stay away from betting this game. It's a 16-point spread right now. I've made money on Colorado, but lost last week. I bet Colorado to cover. They did not even come close to that. And of course, they're a little beat up now. Oregon's laying in weight. If I had to pick a side on this one, I'm going to go Oregon and lay the points, but I'm just going to stay away from it. Shedeur Sanders is the real deal, so I think he can keep them in the game. It's on the road at Oregon, so there's a lot of bad stuff going against Colorado in this one. But I'll be watching at 3:30, no doubt about that. A lot of good games at 3:30. Number 22 UCLA at number 11 Utah. The Utes have won the Pac-12 the last couple of years. Obviously, UCLA's got a new starting quarterback this year, but they've got some players. They got some dogs. Chip Kelly's team can score. They're a good football team. I'm interested to see what that one is going to look like. Ole Miss at Alabama. Number 15 Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin coming in to play his old boss. Alabama, Jalen Milroe gets the start again for Alabama. Did not play against USF, obviously. He's clearly their better quarterback because those other two guys are bums. The bums. Can they lose 2 in a row? This is not the same Alabama team. You let USF hang around. But Ole Miss, I think this is going to be a fun game. This is going to be fun, but I'm going to go with Ole Miss in an upset here.
Wow. Well, it wouldn't be a
fighting Lane Kiffins.
Yeah, it wouldn't be shocking, especially with the quarterback situation right now. It's in flux.
That's a very good way of saying it. It is definitely in flux. And then at nighttime we got Ohio State and Notre Dame. This is going to be a great atmosphere just to watch this whole thing go down. 7:30 on NBC. Number 6 Ohio State, number 9 Notre Dame.
Wow.
Sam Hartman has just been fantastic. I knew he would be awesome. I mean, he kicked our ass for Wake Forest for so long. Kyle McCord, the Buckeyes quarterback, he looks good. He throws the ball with such ease and accuracy. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. But I like Notre Dame in this spot. I really do. I like them. They're tough. They're physical. And now they finally got a quarterback, and they've played well once Marcus Freeman's got him off. Had a little bit of a slow start, but since then they've been really good. Now they got a quarterback. I like Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame too. I think you're right. The Wake Forest quarterback he's been special, and we'll see if he can
really
continue to live up to that hype versus Ohio State. This is the big test right here.
All right, let's bring in our good friend Paul Wilson from Wilson Media and the world famous Wilson family, the king of Pinellas. If there was a royal family of Pinellas, your dad would be the king. Your lovely mother would be the queen. You would be the prince in waiting. And a hell of a lot better than those jamokes they got in London and the knucklehead they got living over here. Jesus, I'm just saying, you guys are the royal family of Pinellas County. Pick another one. Well, what family would even come close? Mark, your brother at Fox 13. Patrick is a world famous actor. You yourself are an actor and media icon. I mean, who else? What other family? Who else talk about this Rays Stadium debacle?
Okay, that's fair. I mean, but just to be clear, I'm probably more the court jester because my 2 brothers would have issue over who's the prince in waiting or the king in waiting. But I mean, I don't know.
Aren't you the oldest? Aren't you the next in line?
Of course, but
okay,
I might transfer. I might pull go to some remote island and just call it a day. Because the population here is crazy. You like that?
Yeah, nice segue. You've done this before.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say it has been an interesting course of events with this team, certainly. And we moved here when Dad got his offer to work at Channel 10, which was ABC and is now CBS now. That was 1982. So I think his first story was the Skyway Bridge disaster, right? And
there you go. Yeah.
Most of St. Petersburg was filled with tricycles and parking lots.
Yeah,
and I don't mean kids on tricycles.
The ones with the big baskets in front.
Yes, like going to Publix, and riding right down the middle of 4th Street, which was always fun to dodge.
Yeah.
But I think considering where we are, and yesterday we saw a little glimpse of what that was like, and to see a winning team. And for so long, as we know, They weren't a winning team. I mean, and I think beyond the obvious that, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, they played baseball here, not in
Petersburg. That's right.
In St. Petersburg.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it goes back to what? I think 1914 or 15, in that range.
Yeah.
And the Yankees didn't really have a presence in Tampa until like mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, they played down here, and then during
the Reds owned Tampa.
Yeah, I mean,
for years and years.
And we had such a long history, which this is one of my gripes about their association with the AL East. But we had such a long history with the St. Louis Browns, and of course the Cardinals and the Mets, the Giants. We had 5 or 6 teams from the 20s all the way up until the war, of course, that were right here in St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
So
rich baseball history.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what led Jack Critchfield and Rick Dodge, who was our city manager at the time, to really put the team ownership,
put baseball
together. Because Tampa didn't come up with that. We did over here, Yeah.
Well, Tampa was trying to get a team as well, and they were going back and forth and see who was going to get it. But Namoli, in true Namoli bully style, after having been screwed by Major League Baseball is like organized crime. And they always have been, especially when it comes to relocation and getting stadiums built. Very similar.
Look at the power of Bud Selig. There was a guy who owned car dealers and then stole the Brewers. I mean, stole them, right?
Yeah,
and became the mob boss of the league.
Exactly. And they played dirty. They played politics dirty. The whole vote in Chicago and using St. Petersburg. And we're giving you all this historical perspective to get so bear with us a little bit here. And Namoli basically sued, and this is why this was built in St. Petersburg, because Major League Baseball said, look, do not build that thing, because we know that if you don't have 1.5 million people within a 30-minute radius of your stadium, it will fail. We don't allow teams to build stadiums on the periphery of the market. So do not build that thing. And they're like, we're going to build it, because then when we build it, then somebody's going to come. And they said, first round of expansion, no, we're giving it to Miami. We're not going to relocate a team there. I don't care that you built. We told you not to build it, but you did it anyway on a toxic waste site. You did it anyway. And then Namoli was like, you screwed us twice now, and I've got all the receipts for it. So I'm going to sue your ass in court, and I'm going to drag your ass into court. And the thing MLB will stay away from more than anything is going into court and doing discovery. Mob people don't like going into courts and having, people serve subpoenas on them. They don't like that stuff. They tend to settle out of court. So what did they do? They gave Namoli the team because they didn't want to go to court.
Wasn't Connie Mack in Congress at the time and leading the charge?
When they got the antitrust exemption? Yes.
Right.
It's all dirty. But that's how they got the team. And even then, Bud Selig was like, okay, fine. But eventually it's going to be in Tampa. And this was supposed to be the next move to Tampa. And now, in my mind, we have a owner who has never liked St. Pete, has stated it publicly 100,000 times that it's not a major league market. Yep. Baseball, right out of his mouth multiple times, baseball cannot survive in downtown St. Petersburg. And I know there have been changes, and I know you will argue that it's growing rapidly, but the bottom line is you have a density problem already. And the fish don't go to games. It's not going to you're not going to go from 600,000 people within a 30-minute drive to more than 1 million. It's just not going to happen. You can build as high as you want. And that's my only problem. And by the way, St. Pete, your beautiful city there, does not need a baseball stadium. It needs more housing, a convention center.
And that's coming. I mean, I'm not sure convention center would actually work economically, but you look at what's happening. I mean, when I left you at the game yesterday to go deal with my old car issues, I counted. Yeah, we can talk about that later. But I counted 7 cranes within about 5 blocks, and they're all focused on residential construction. I mean, there's a lot happening. And to be fair, we of 67 counties in the state of Florida, we are the most dense. And certainly when this discussion began, we were the city of St. Petersburg, which is about 60 square miles, barely, right? Yeah. Pretty dense. I mean, 5th largest city population wise. Jacksonville's big and sprawling, but we got people. Well, in the last 5 years, we've had about another 20, I think it's like 27,000 more people have moved here when this was really heated about the movement of potential new stadium. So now, as they do, as they're prone to do, kind of contract, have a smaller venue, jack the prices up, create more of a corporate party atmosphere, if you will.
Yeah,
and I think that could work when you look at really the density. But to your point, I go back to and yes, it was a different era, of course, but I go back to Ozzie Smith. I go back to these legends of the Cardinals. When we first moved here, Cardinals had just won the World Series in '82. Right. And those guys, and there was no cable TV, so you had to watch. When you watch them, the whole market watched them, right?
Right.
Well, you talk about a fracturing media society, right? And a lot of that has happened a lot. Where certainly in a market like this, which is booming,
the Rays are the highest rated thing in prime time every night on cable, highest rated show on cable.
But even so, look at how. And I understand the economics of it, but who would you say is the biggest Rays star since we really since about 2008?
Longoria. It's Longoria.
Okay.
Longo.
And get you to this point that we were talking about yesterday. Their branding has been awful. Their branding and marketing which you're an expert at, has been awful until this year. Really.
Peter, behind Peter, you see Mike Allstott's jersey. Now, Mike Allstott. God love him. The A Train, he was more fun to watch than about equal back next to maybe Barry Sanders, right? But then after his retirement, he got in the community. He opened restaurants. Now, what have we seen from that? Evan did that, and then they needed the money, and they needed to build the team, and then they dumped him. But he was the closest thing. Kids love. You still see Longo jerseys, walking around. I did yesterday. We've never embraced those superstars. And
who have they branded? They started to brand Wander. That didn't go so well.
They did it. They're doing it on purpose. I think a lot of people would say, and I don't know if you would agree with this, Paul, but they're doing it on purpose because they're trying to show Major League Baseball that this community doesn't want baseball here. That they can't function because they can't have the fan base. And to me, you see this year with the ownership, and JP has suggested this over the years, lowering the ticket prices, going out there, putting this team. And now the attendance is up. And that's why I believe
this year,
being an eternal optimist and a Tampa Bay sports fan, that it can work in St. Pete if the ownership cares about the fan, if they endear themselves to the fan like a Jeffrey Vinnick.
Well, he's one of a kind, absolutely. But look what that entire organization. I was telling JP yesterday, it's not uncommon to go to a Lightning game and to see Jeff name tag walking around with a broom, picking things up and saying, "You having a good time? Thanks for coming." When have we seen that from leadership? We really haven't. And even when Namoli, God rest his soul, even when Namoli was alive, he was active, but he wasn't necessarily the best public spokesperson, if you will, for that team, right?
Right.
No. I still suffer from that.
That started from the very beginning when somebody was, and I believe it was the writer at the time, was trying to reveal the name, and he went after the guy. There was a story about that. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. But here's the bottom line, Paul, and I want you to tell, because you said this when you were blasting me on my Facebook post.
Yeah.
That the people of St. Pete are going to rally. They're going to rally around this, and they're going to finally start going to the games because they haven't. They haven't supported it there locally. 300 season ticket holders with St. Pete addresses at last count. That's just, and as you pointed out, as we're looking around this Tropicana Field, where are the local advertisers? Where's the local corporate support? There's a little bit there, but there's not nearly enough.
Well, or even the larger, bigger brands. It was funny. I just for giggles, I looked at the opening game video of their first home game ever, and you saw Southwest Airlines.
Yeah.
It was First Union Bank back then, now Wells Fargo, of course. I didn't see Wells Fargo in the stadium yesterday. They may have been, to be fair, but they've not attracted that larger corporate support. And I think that partly is due to, an anemic attendance. Media buyers look at, how many eyeballs am I buying if I give you dollars, right?
Right.
But to your point, what I like about this, and beyond the public subsidy that I think the team will, benefit from, which has been kind of a missing component. I'm trying to be polite.
Oh, yes.
At the end of the day, too, you've got you've got a lot of mixed use. Only 20% is actually the stadium. The rest is going to be multi-use, and 20% of the housing in the area is affordable housing. And I think, and they're going to have more museums. And I love Tampa, love coming to Tampa. I'm not one of those Pinellas County residents that just goes to Hillsborough County when you got to fly. However, I get invited downtown to go lunch, meet someone for lunch weekly, let's say. And I don't even know the name that I get via text. There's so much, I think, culturally rich, diversity. And I think that's where we're better than we were even 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, unless you subsidize it, we're leaving, But I think now we're in a better spot. And I'll say this, I think Ron DeSantis did a great job keeping this state open. I spoke to the Florida Chamber several months ago. It's not 1,000 people a day to Florida. It's closer to 2,000.
Yeah,
and about 30% are coming right here to Tampa Bay. We are the number one.
But they can't go to St. Pete. They can't live there. There's no space. All of the growth is happening on the I-4 corridor closer to downtown Tampa. That's where most of the people are coming in.
What's the entry level price for a 1,200 square foot condo in the new building downtown St. Pete?
I'll say $1 million.
500 feet up.
$1 million.
$1 million. 1,300 or so per square foot.
But as Thomas Casper points out here, people wintering in $1 million condos don't go near Tropicana baseball games. They don't even walk over to eat at Ferg's. And this is another thing.
You're not going to look. First of all, if I'm buying $1 million condo downtown St. Pete, I'm getting it homestead exempted. That means I got to be here 6 months out of the year. Okay. Yeah. These are not.
But they don't go to. But that's the thing about the people at St. Pete, downtown St. Pete. The demo doesn't go to baseball games. They're older and rich. They don't leave the house, or they're young. They're young and hip, and they're going down to the cool bars. They're not really baseball type fans. The baseball fans are kids, families with Little League. They go to Little League, the bedroom communities. That's all, that's West Chase. That's South Tampa. That's Brandon. That's Fishhawk Ranch. That's Land O'Lakes. That's New Tampa. That's the area. That's Riverview. That's where the people who go out and do stuff to go to baseball games are. And the midweek people, and there's no problem with weekends, even at Tropicana Field. It's the midweek people that you got to get there. And that comes from population, 2.4, 2.6 million people now within the 30-mile drive of downtown Tampa, as opposed to 750,000, maybe 800,000 in St. Pete. My fear is, this is my fear, that Stu Sternberg, who was pissed on St. Petersburg for 15 years, and we talked about this yesterday. You live there. You are the royal family of Pinellas. Does he hobnob? Is he inculcated himself within the hierarchy of St. Pete people? No. Nobody knows him.
I've never met him.
You, Paul Wilson, the king of Pinellas County, or at least the prince, have never met Stu Sternberg. Come on.
Never seen him in an event. I do know that they're a good community partner here in St. Petersburg, but I think back to the point, it's part of that leadership, but it's also that personality. And it's building brands takes a long time, but it also takes a lot of effort. And I don't think
he's as warm as the Grinch.
Well, he's a self-admitted Mets fan. You rather own the Mets at this point. He's admitted to it. What owner does that? What owner comes out and says, "Hey, he's
going to take $600 million of public money or more. I think there's a lot more in this deal for him and Hines, to be quite honest. I think it's a hell of a lot more. And he's going to sell the team and leave baseball fans with a poorly located stadium, a failed location. As much as I love St. Pete, it's not a great place for baseball. 81 games. You got to have people be able to come midweek, and the population just does not allow it. And the people that live around the stadium, even within 30-minute drive, don't go to the games. We've learned this over 25 years, Paul. I love St. Pete. I love your county. I love Pinellas. I love the beaches. It doesn't need a baseball stadium. He's gonna take your money and run just like Jeffrey Luria did. Don't let it happen, bro. Stand up.
This stage, I think it's going to happen. We can only
when you got corrupt. Politicians that don't want to lose the Rays. because they think that every Miami politician that made that boondoggle happen in Miami got thrown out of office, Mayor Welch. So I'm just warning you, don't do this deal.
I think it's, and you got to remember the economics too from this county. What do we have that Hillsborough County does not have? Beach.
Bed tax money. Beach
Right.
and bed. Well, and by the way, Hillsborough County bed tax money is doubled since COVID. So
Sure,
they've got plenty of bed tax money as well.
Sure. But we're always going to attract people coming to the beach, and the hoteliers are a really powerful syndicate.
You don't need a baseball stadium.
That's $600 million in bed taxes that I think the county's going to,
But you could use that for so many better things than a baseball stadium that's going to be empty after the first 2 years.
Well, I think it's going to surprise you. I don't know. And I'll tell you this too, that may be one of the little hidden gems here.
Give me something to hang my hat on.
We're not talking.
They're going to surprise. Give me some meat here of why this is going to work. I want it to work. I desperately want it to work.
I know you do. And I think that's what we all need to really hope for. But certainly I think the missing element that really may surprise everybody is that we have, back to the population growth, we have a lot of people here with no sense. They don't even know where Thanota Sassa is, right? They're coming from Northeast. They're coming from the Midwest. They're coming from colder, more dense cities, New York, Boston, and they're bringing their sensibilities here. So they don't have any institutional memory per se of what St. Petersburg went through to get this far. So maybe that's a new little fire that I think we're going to see. I've noticed it with business leaders, and maybe that's a missing link that is hard to put a finger on because it's not a logical part of a graph, if you will. It's going to be a behavioral issue. And that's where if any brand can figure out how consumers behave, it's all gold after that. So we'll see. That's the missing link. People always make the difference. So hopefully I think we're better off than we were even 5 years ago in terms of a more rich, culturally rich population. And we've got a lot more services that are part of this deal that were not part of the deal 5 years ago. So
all of those law firms, it's just not just the big corporations, but it's the 50-person law firms, it's the restaurants, all of these, the bigger restaurants, the bigger, the accounting firms, the real estate firms, they all need to be buying boxes in this new stadium, the premium revenue, because that's the revenue that drives your payroll. And those boxes, by the way, you got to buy them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And you got to be able to give the tickets out to clients, and people have to want to go to the games in the middle of the week. That's where the lifeblood of the money comes from. That's what the Braves did. So they built a stadium where their fans are. You're not doing that here in St. Pete. You are not moving the stadium to where your fans are. You're still asking them to come to you. And that has been a failed model. And are all these downtown St. Pete or Tampa firms going to buy up luxury boxes over here? I hope so, but I don't think so, because they did when the team came here. And you know what happened? They couldn't give away the midway games, and they're paying. You're paying like, the ticket we had yesterday in that box. Did you see the price of that ticket?
$187.
$187 for a Thursday afternoon game that some corporation is picking up. And if that's thousands of dollars a game. And and if the box is empty, they're not going to renew it. People have to step up.
That's a fair point. I still think, though, that with the opportunity that it's going to be more of an open mall with retail. There's a lot more retail population. I mean, I'm walking around down here every day. I can tell you how, like I said, there are restaurants that have been here that I don't even know the names of. There's so much activity. So I think they're counting on this mixed use, certainly a lot for the community. I think it's fair to say, too, there's a lot of kind of eclectic culture and diversity in this part of the county that you don't even have in Clearwater. Clearwater's magnificent.
I know. I mean, those people, but all due respect, the hippies don't go to baseball games. They don't.
Well, I don't think that's a hasty generalization. I don't think they're all hippies. I mean, you got Northeast St. Petersburg, but I think it still kind of goes back to, embedding in the community, getting involved, act like you want to be here.
Yes.
The Bucs have done it.
Because nobody's gravitated towards Stu Sternberg to do that. He's like hugging a clam. It's just it's just nothing there, man. It's just like because you walk away and you got slime all over you. It just smells.
Well, I've never met him.
I just came up with that.
That's your experience. Okay. Or characterization.
You go watch some videotape of him doing an interview. You just oozes through the screen. All right. I'm here to tell you, as the judge, I don't think you've convinced me that this is going to work.
Well, I mean, I'm not convinced, but I'm hopeful, and I think the ingredients.
Hope ain't his strategy, bro.
The ingredients are conducive now that they even worked 5 years ago. So,
all right,
we'll see.
Percentage this gets done, Paul. What's your percentage? Because we were talking about this the other day. We hope that we don't have another press conference. It's now the fourth one with the stadium being built. Percentage it gets done.
Oh, it's 80%.
Okay.
Because the politicians of Pinellas are just going to make this
the money.
happen.
I mean, Pinellas County's got the money too. That's another big factor.
Yeah. Well, they've got the upfront money. Look, long term, Tampa has more money. And the Tampa proposal, which I'm privy to, is that $150 million up front, okay, and then pay as you go. As people come in and use the stadium, every a quarter of every beer, 50 cents of every burger goes to the stadium, the development districts. It's more of a pay as you go, and there's more long-term money available in terms of suites and businesses that will fill the stadium. It's as you go, pay as you go, and I think it's a better long-term model. And anybody in Major League Baseball doesn't want to build in St. Pete. They want to build in Tampa because they know the long-term model is better for everybody. You're still going to have an attendance issue, which means owners still going to have to write revenue sharing checks to whoever owns the team. And this is the crux of the whole thing with Stu. I don't trust him. And you got a $6.5 billion redevelopment of which he and Hines now have the development rights. And I just don't trust the dude. Because I think he's going to do what Jeffrey Luria did, is he bought the club at a low price. You get a new stadium, which increases the price, the value of the team. You take all the money out of it, and you haul ass, and you're left with a stadium that's poorly located, and may not have all the bells and whistles that they say it's going to have. So and let's hope the financing isn't like the Miami financing, where it's going to ended up costing them $2.6 billion for a stadium that's poorly located. So that's what I'm afraid of, because I think his new love for St. Petersburg is about as genuine as a politician in Washington, D.C.
Or a Hollywood marriage.
There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's time will tell. Time will.
Not Patrick Wilson's. No. Definitely not his. Absolutely not.
No.
All right. I love you, brother. Anything we should be watching this weekend coming up? Anything good coming up?
I mean, football. I mean, at the end of the day, this is
no
the
movies?
time to watch Saturday football. I mean,
all right. Well, come watch the FSU game with me. Let's go.
Good. Yeah. Well, there's some new movies coming out. There's the new Star Wars series, Ahsoka, is out. That's really just dropped the new one, and a certain Vader shows up. So that's kind of fun, and that's the one thing I've kind of as an actor that's unemployed now because of the strike. It's been fun to catch up on stuff that I've missed. But that may have for Star Wars fans, the purest kind of, it captures that essence of the early iterations of Star Wars. It's and the timeline is just it's just after Return of the Jedi. So that's a fun little series.
I saw Asteroid City, the Wes Anderson. Did you see it? Dude, that was unbelievably. Oh my God, that's one of the best movies I've seen in decades.
No, there is nobody like him, and I think
he's so good.
Yeah. It's I bought that movie. I loved it so much. I've already seen it like 5 times.
I got to watch it again because I'm sure there's tons that I missed, like the alternate reality.
Oh, there's nuance, and I mean they're throwing away details. I mean, there's nobody like Wes Anderson. Nobody.
It really isn't.
All-star cast that really just puts those.
Why does he not get the recognition that he deserves?
Well, I mean, I think he gets it among his peers. He's kind of a Ferrari version of art class, if you will, or these,
We're just such a dumbed down society. People they just can't appreciate it.
But I mean, he's got a super cast all the time. He's got
everybody wants to do his movies,
and it's just there's nothing like it. I mean, there's really
nothing like it. Not even close. All right, my friend. Thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. Go Noles.
Weekend. Yeah. See you soon.
All right. So I'm still left. I'm left, even to the king of Pinellas County. You just tell it's like, I hope it works, man. I hope it
Listen,
works.
he made some good points.
No, of course he did.
I mean, I definitely want to see this work out. I'm not.
St. Pete's never been. He's right. St. Pete's never been this bustling. Never been this forward thinking. Never had more development. Never been more thought of highly. But it's just small and it's surrounded by water.
Let me convince you. Okay, let's say you get an owner that's as good or equal to Jeff Vinnick, and he endears himself to the fan base, and they spend
that
money.
would be huge, man. That would be huge.
Getting
Stu out of the equation would definitely be huge. Huge. But I'm just, I don't know how he's going to linger here in terms of being redevelopment and all that stuff. How my feeling is he just gets the hell out and takes his money and runs. And the new ownership, if there's if it's Dan Doyle, who's lifetime Pinellas resident, if we get some local ownership that we can really rally behind, I'm all for it, man. I want it to succeed.
Yeah.
I want it. If it succeeds and we get the revenue and everything's cool, then I'm all for it. But the
name's always thrown out there, DeBartolo. What about DeBartolo?
All those people want to build in Tampa, which is still why I think this may not happen. And again, where's the commissioner?
Well,
I missed it?
He's taking the money and run. He knows. I don't know if he knows that it's going to work out in St. Pete, but Stu has probably told him, you know what? If I get my stadium, we'll give you a cut of it, and then we won't have to revenue share anymore with the owners. You happy? Oh yeah, you're happy. Okay, because we all know every professional league is all about the bottom line. JP, we all know that. So if they're getting a lot of money out of this and the ownership is getting a lot of money out of this, they'll look the other way. You know that.
Yeah, if they can, if the owner of their owners he's going to pay off the other owners with all this public money.
You talked about one of the worst commissioners in all professional sports, in my opinion, Bud Selig, who looked the other way and coughed when he knew there was a problem in baseball with steroids.
Right.
Why did they look the other way?
Because they were making money.
Exactly, and it brought the fans back. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thanks to all our guests. If you missed the great John Smoltz interview, go check that out in our 10:15 area of the show. John Kincaid from Philadelphia Radio, Philly icon, was fantastic in our 10:35 segment. Pat Burnham, awesome. Paul Wilson, awesome. Great job, Peter. We'll be back tomorrow or Monday morning. Well, actually, we'll be doing the post-game show. But that'll be Monday. That's right. We got Monday football.
Monday nights.
So Monday at the patio, 5 to 7. Show up then. I'll see you at the weekend this weekend at the patio watching games. So come on down and watch that as well. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go Noles. Go Rays.